As I sit here in my favorite corner of the campus library, surrounded by towering bookshelves and the soft glow of my laptop screen, I can't help but reflect on the whirlwind that has been my college experience so far. I'm Kevin, a 20-year-old junior majoring in environmental science at Greendale University, and let me tell you, finding equilibrium in this academic circus has been quite the adventure. It all started during my sophomore year, when I found myself drowning in a sea of textbooks, lab reports, and looming exams. My friends, bless their hearts, couldn't understand why I was suddenly missing in action from our usual hangouts. "Kevin, you've turned into a hermit," they'd joke, their messages piling up on my phone as I hunched over my desk, desperately trying to make sense of complex ecological systems and statistical analyses. One particularly stressful night, as I was burning the midnight oil in my dorm room, my roommate Jake stumbled in from a party. The stark contrast between his carefree laughter and my anxiety-ridden state hit me like a ton of bricks. Jake took one look at me, disheveled hair, bloodshot eyes, and surrounded by a fortress of energy drink cans, and his smile faded. "Dude, when was the last time you saw sunlight?" he asked, genuine concern in his voice. I glanced at the clock, 3:27 a.m., and realized I couldn't remember. That's when it hit me. Something had to change. The next day, fueled by determination and an alarming amount of caffeine, I embarked on a mission to find my own slice of solitude without completely disconnecting from the world. My first step? Discovering the hidden nooks of our sprawling campus. I started with the obvious spots, quiet corners of the library, empty classrooms after hours, but they never felt quite right. Too sterile, too confined. Then one day, while taking a shortcut to class, I stumbled upon an abandoned greenhouse behind the biology building. It was like stumbling into a secret garden. Vines crept up the glass walls. Forgotten plants reached towards the sunlight, and the air was thick with the scent of earth and green things. This verdant oasis became my secret study spot. The plants didn't mind my muttering as I memorized chemical equations, and the sunlight streaming through the glass roof kept my vitamin D levels in check. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. But solitude, as I quickly learned, is a double-edged sword. While it boosted my productivity, it also threatened to isolate me from my friends. Missed calls turned into missed hangouts, and soon, I found myself feeling oddly out of sync with the people I cared about. That's when I had an epiphany. Why not combine my need for quiet study time with my passion for the environment and my desire to maintain friendships? I proposed a weekly green study group to my friends. The pitch was simple. We'd meet at different outdoor locations around campus, the botanical gardens, the lakeside, even the rooftop garden of the science building. We'd spend an hour studying together, then take a break to explore our surroundings and chat. To my surprise and delight, it was a hit. Not only did we motivate each other to study, but we also got to enjoy nature and each other's company. Plus, explaining concepts to my friends helped solidify my own understanding. So it's a win-win-win. Our first session was at the campus arboretum. We spread out blankets under a massive oak tree, textbooks and laptops, creating a patchwork of academia on the grass. As I helped my friend Zoe untangle the intricacies of the carbon cycle, I felt a sense of purpose that had been missing from my solo study sessions. However, balancing academics, friendships, and my passion for environmental activism wasn't always smooth sailing. There was the time I accidentally scheduled a beach cleanup on the same day as my organic chemistry midterm. Talk about a facepalm moment. I stood on the beach at dawn, clipboard in hand, ready to lead a group of volunteers in removing plastic waste from the shoreline. As the sun rose and people began to arrive, a horrible realization dawned on me. My midterm was in 2 hours, and I was an hour away from campus. Panic set in as I frantically called my co-organizer, explained the situation, and then raced back to campus, sand still clinging to my shoes. I made it to the exam room with minutes to spare, heart pounding and mind reeling. Needless to say, it wasn't my best performance. That day taught me a valuable lesson. Sometimes, it's okay to say no and prioritize. I had to learn to be more selective with my commitments, to recognize that passion without balance could lead to burnout. Speaking of burnout, self-care often took a back seat in my juggling act until a wake-up call came in the form of a nasty cold that knocked me out for a week. Lying in bed, feeling miserable and watching my carefully planned schedule crumble, I realized the importance of taking care of myself. Once I recovered, I started incorporating short meditation sessions into my daily routine, usually right after waking up. At first, it felt awkward and unnatural. My mind would race, thinking about all the tasks I needed to accomplish. But gradually, I began to look forward to those quiet moments of mindfulness. I also made a pact with myself to hit the gym at least 3 times a week, even if it meant studying on the treadmill sometimes. It was during one of these treadmill study sessions that I had a breakthrough on my research project about urban heat islands. Who knew that the rhythm of running could sync so well with the flow of ideas? As I began to prioritize self-care, I noticed a ripple effect in other areas of my life. My concentration improved, my stress levels decreased, and I found myself better equipped to handle the curveballs that college life often threw my way. One of my proudest moments came when I organized a mindfulness in nature event for stressed-out students during finals week. Inspired by my own experiences, I wanted to share the benefits of combining relaxation, nature, and studying with my fellow students. We gathered in the campus arboretum for guided meditation, followed by a nature walk and a group study session. Seeing my peers relax and connect with both nature and each other was incredibly rewarding. The event was such a success that the university's Wellness Center asked me to make it a regular occurrence. Of course, there have been bumps along the way. Like the time I got so engrossed in a research paper on coral reef conservation that I completely forgot about my best friend's birthday party. I emerged from my research fog to find a string of increasingly concerned messages from Sarah, culminating in a simple, "I guess you're not coming?" The guilt was overwhelming. Sarah had been my rock since freshman year, always there with a listening ear or a much-needed distraction. And I had let her down on her special day. It took a lot of explaining and a homemade cake, shaped like a sea turtle, her favorite animal, to make amends. As we sat in her dorm room, eating slightly lopsided turtle cake, Sarah looked at me with a mix of exasperation and fondness. "You know, Kev," she said, licking frosting off her fork, "it's okay to come up for air sometimes. The coral reefs will still be there tomorrow." Her words stuck with me, a reminder that while passion and dedication are admirable, they shouldn't come at the cost of the relationships that sustain us. As I approach my senior year, I can't help but feel grateful for these experiences. College has taught me more than just academic knowledge. It's shown me the importance of balance, the value of true friendships, and the power of pursuing your passions while taking care of yourself. I've learned to be more intentional with my time, to set boundaries, and to communicate better with the people in my life. I've discovered that it's possible to be committed to your studies and causes without losing yourself in the process. My weekly schedule now includes dedicated study time, volunteer work with local environmental organizations, hangouts with friends, and yes, plenty of time for self-care. It's a delicate balance, but one that leaves me feeling fulfilled rather than frazzled. I've also learned to embrace the unexpected moments that college life brings. Like the impromptu stargazing session that turned into an all-night discussion about the possibility of life on other planets. Or the time a guest lecturer's passionate speech about renewable energy inspired me to change the focus of my senior thesis. These moments, unplanned and unscripted, have often been the most educational and transformative. As I sit here in the library, putting the finishing touches on a group project about sustainable urban planning, I can't help but smile at how far I've come. The Kevin of sophomore year would hardly recognize the person I am now, still passionate and driven, but also more grounded, more balanced. In an hour, I'll be meeting my friends for our weekly coffee catch-up. We started this tradition as a way to ensure we stayed connected despite our busy schedules. It's become a cherished part of my week, a time to laugh, vent, and remind each other of the world beyond textbooks and term papers. Later tonight, I'll be leading a campus-wide stargazing event to raise awareness about light pollution. It's an issue I became passionate about after learning how excess artificial light affects nocturnal animals and disrupts ecosystems. We'll be setting up telescopes on the quad and handing out information about simple ways to reduce light pollution. As I pack up my things, I catch a glimpse of my reflection in the library window. I see a young man who is tired but content, with a spark of excitement in his eyes for what the future holds. I think about the freshman who first stepped onto this campus, wide-eyed and a little overwhelmed. If I could go back and give that version of myself some advice, I'd say this. Embrace the journey. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, They're often your best teachers. Find your passion, but don't let it consume you. Make time for the people who matter. Take care of yourself, your mind, your body, and your spirit. And remember, it's okay to ask for help when you need it. College is more than just a stepping stone to a career. It's a time of growth, of self-discovery, of learning how to navigate the complex tapestry of adult life. It's about finding your voice and using it to make a difference, however small, in the world around you. As I leave the library and step out into the warm afternoon sun, I feel a sense of anticipation for what's to come. Senior year looms on the horizon, bringing with it new challenges and opportunities. There will be tough decisions to make about grad school and career paths, more battles to fight for environmental causes, and undoubtedly, more lessons to learn about balancing it all. But for now, I'm heading to meet my friends for coffee. We'll laugh, we'll commiserate over upcoming exams, we'll share our dreams and fears for the future. And then, under the vast expanse of the night sky, I'll share my passion for conservation with anyone willing to look up and wonder. It's a juggling act for sure, but I wouldn't have it any other way. After all, isn't that what college is all about? Learning, growing, and finding your own unique rhythm in this crazy, beautiful dance we call life. As I walk across campus, I take a deep breath, feeling grateful for every step of this journey, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Whatever comes next, I know I'm ready to face it, one balanced day at a time.